I grew up the only child of a single parent, so I was very isolated growing up. I had trouble communicating. Until I was about 23, I couldn't look people in the eyes and talk to them at the same time. To talk to people, I'd have to look at the floor and talk with my hands, and then I'd have to stop and look at them. I couldn't do both at the same time. I used to stutter and stammer. I hadn't spoken to anyone who wasn't family in a matter of months, just because of the condition that I was in. I had a lot of problems with finding a job. I used to have panic attacks and nervous breakdowns. Eventually, you just get too scared of trying because you're worried people are judging you, and I eventually just gave up.
One of Max's relatives telephoned us and said, my nephew really needs some support. Can you help him? He doesn't really engage very much. He's gone within himself. Would you be able to have a chat with him? And I said, yeah, bring him along.
He was the first person I'd ever felt comfortable with that wasn't family, and he helped me come out of my shell a little bit.
He came along with his grandma, who he lived with them, and first appointment he didn't engage eye contact with me at all, didn't really say a word to me. His grandma did all the talking for him.
Each time I was slowly warming up to him, and then I think after a few visits I would just go on my own, but it was a gradual thing.
What me and Max discussed was, what did he want to do and where did he want to get to? Rather than just say, you're going to be in work in the next 3 weeks, it was about putting reasonable, structured advice and guidance in place so we could take them steps to build self-confidence, be empowered about his own strengths. And just for me, attending that appointment on his own in a one-to-one was the first step to the rest of his journey.
The first few weeks was just coming and figuring out a daily plan of self-improvement. Back then I was not in a good state, so it did start with really simple stuff like learn to get up in the morning and then to develop a thought planner and just get more used to developing a type of self-awareness.
Lots of employment provision is wrong. Employment provision isn't a tick box exercise. It's a journey of where do I want to get to in the next part of my life? It's learning how to ride the bumps, because it's not just about the journey back to work, it's about the journey for oneself. And I can't talk about that highly enough. And that's what I believe this program does.
After the first month, he got me a voluntary job at a charity shop not too far from the CVS centre. It was after doing a few weeks there that he told me about the interview for the ambassador. I really didn't think I was going to get the job because I'd never had a job like that before, but they took me on and it was one of the most transformative moments of my life.
I remember we did an event for Groundwork and Max spoke. To speak in front of, I think there was about 100 people there, was just something beyond anything that you could think about this person could do 6 months previous. He really had come on leaps and bounds.
I worked in mental health for a few years. It's a very rewarding job and it was a very interesting job. I would not have been able to do that line of work without the kind of confidence that I had through the Towards Work project and everyone that I worked with. I left that job to look after my mum because she was terminally ill. It's the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, and if it wasn't for everything before then, I would have never been the type of person that could have stepped up and took care of it. So all of that stuff I owe to that very first time I met Steve. Because from that point, everything that happened after for the next few years, whether it was good or bad, it gave me exactly what I needed to prepare myself for the next thing.
He's just about to come and start to work with us again as a work coach, so the journey's come 360. He's an absolutely sensational individual and I'm really pleased with what he's done for himself actually. He's just a great advocate for this programme.